بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Our respected and beloved Murshid Hadra Khaja Anwarullah Shah Chisti Qadiri Naqshbandiyya Suhrawardiya والسنوسية وخليفة الثلاث الأربعين مدة الله عليه ودم فيضه المتوالي. Respected and beloved Pirma, respected and beloved Muriddin, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, our gratitude to Allah for having able us to be here tonight on this very blessed Thursday evening in a state of good health and Iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prolong our life with Iman, Islam and Ihsan until our very last breath. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Practicing zikr nowadays is not an easy thing. What more if we are going to practice tariqah? Given the challenges like doing zikr in mosque, work from home, doing a lot of things, and still at the same time trying to keep to the teaching of ihsan. But that is the whole idea. Like we have shared before, there is never a moment where the practice is dull. So the practice of ihsan, even if it is challenging or it is boring, and at times you are faced with the illness of laziness, the illness of being bored, these are opportune times for us to actually sharpen our practices. So every time that we are challenged with tiredness, we are challenged with overrunning thoughts, we're challenged with a lot of worries, that means it's an opportune time. It is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is the time we should come in and sharpen our practice even more. A master craftsman doesn't become a master craftsman just by having the title. He is a master craftsman after being cutting his fingers many a times. While he's trying to sew, he might have hit his fingers, etc. He might have, done a lot of damage to an expensive wood or expensive stone, etc., etc. Same like us. We are only mastering ourselves after we're able to master ourselves in times where our practices seems boring, our practices seems mundane, our practices seem like there is no meaning to it. If we're ever facing such a time or such a challenge, that means it is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to realign ourselves back, to refocus ourselves back, and to re-practice again, and we will come out even better than we were entering, inshallah. There is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or a Sahaba that said that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will constantly be reciting illallah. Right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will constantly be reciting illallah to a point that the Sahaba says, we wish he would stop. This is sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who, as we know, does not sleep. Why? Because he says the eyes of a prophet rest, but his heart doesn't, which means Prophet doesn't sleep at all. Khalas. So for a Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who does not sleep, not because he doesn't want to, not because of the sake of dunya, but because he is constantly remembering Allah, yet his verbal dhikr, his jahar dhikr, is still as strong. It is not for himself, it is actually for us. It is a reminder for us that there is never a moment that our dhikr should not be a strong jahar, where it should vibrate the heart and awaken ourselves from the slumbers of our handphones, from the slumbers of our televisions, from the slumbers of dunya. So if we're ever saying that we're too busy, then know that we are not using that busyness and time of dunya. Dunya has already captured us. In fact, we should be more on our toes to sharpen our practice even more. And so every moment that we have is a moment for us to sharpen our practice. And how do we do that? The success of sharpening the practice is when we are inspired. How are we supposed to be inspired? When we are connected with our mashaykhin, with our murshids. And this we have taught through the guided practice of tasawwur. To always be connected with the heart, the mind of your murshid. And not because he desires to be famous, but because that is the adab of a murid. And through that, you're actually connected to the whole chain, which goes up to more than 200 mashayikheen whose hearts are constantly connected with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose heart is never asleep, whose heart is the celestial heart, the heart of diamond that always reflects illumination from tajalli of ilahiyah. So my brothers and sisters, how fortunate are we that we're given the practice of dhikr, we're given the practice of tasawwur, we're given the practice of zikr al-qalbi, we're given the practice of fasul anfas, we're given all of this. And the beautiful thing is, we should not be doing it hiding. What did the Prophet ﷺ do? His dhikr, he did. The Sahaba said, he did his dhikr, ﷺ did his dhikr until we wish he stopped. Which means what? There is no hiding in dhikr. There's no need for us to be saying, I am doing dhikr and we have to hide that as though we need a yellow box. Right? Some people, they need yellow box to do things. As though dhikr now has been sidelined to such things of dunya. In fact, dhikr is a'la. When Rasul ﷺ doesn't stop doing. We are constantly preaching of loving Prophet ﷺ, but why are we not preaching about the love of dhikrullah, which is one of the most important sunnah of Holy Prophet ﷺ. So there's no shame in making a dhikr of illallah, because that is one of the zikr of Prophet ﷺ. That is one of the dhikr of Holy Prophet ﷺ, which means what? It is affirmation. So when we're doing La ilaha, it is dhikr of negation. Negating what? Negating all of the mundaneness, all of the boredom, all of the I-ness in our dhikr. And we're just affirming our non-existence and affirming the true existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no self. There is no self. There is only illallah. So my brothers and sisters, if we have this, then there's never a dull moment in dhikr. There is never a boring moment in dhikr. There's never a reason or excuse to not do our dhikr. Because every moment is a moment of illallah. Every moment is a moment for us to refine our practice until so much that we can worship Allah as though we, if not, we know that He is. That is the minimum we should leave as people who are making dhikr. Insha'Allah, Ameen. This Thursday evening is we're coming together to absorb the blessings, to absorb the tajalli, to absorb the blessings in the place as well. Every week we're doing this. Don't think the walls are not absorbing it. Don't think that the lights and everything are not absorbing it. The carpets and all, they are absorbing it. All of this will be witnesses for us on the day of judgment. Fulan bin Fulan came here for dhikr. I bear witness, O Allah, that he mentioned your name when he was tired or she was tired or they were from work, etc. I bear witness, O Allah, that they struggled to come here. Our clothes will bear witness. Everything around us will be witnessing of our dhikr, inshaAllah. So what more of a more noble act than making dhikr in this day and age that we are constantly challenged with boredom. Shaykh Akbar Muhyiddin ibn Arabi Qaddasallahu Sirrul Aziz wa nafaqtu min ruh, he mentions that boredom is an illness that arises when we have lack of adab for the presence of Allah. He says boredom arises because of our lack of reverence. Our lack of reverence for the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for Ahl al-Turuq, for Murideen, what do we have? Our Mashaykhin has taught us about the importance of the presence of Allah. That Allah is closer to us than our. So there should be no sadness. There should be no sadness. There should only be joy. People are only joyful because they are able to sense the presence and closeness, of course, with the aid of their Mashaykh, inshaAllah.